Hello, honeydoers and handy men and women. Today I'm going to show you how to make this simple wooden bench that you can place in your backyard or wherever you want to put it. As you see, it's made, has two block base. These blocks you can find in any neighborhood. After every storm, you'll find trees that have been cut down in someone's yard, and you'll see blocks, maybe not cut perfectly like this, but blocks that you can get probably for free and make this simple bench. The tools you'll need, some of the tools you'll need, we mentioned earlier, you'll need a simple angle grinder. This particular one is a Hitachi. Several companies make this same grinder. You'll need this chainsaw type blade. This blade right here, it's called a wood carving disc. It's a blade that has tooths similar to a chainsaw blade, so it can easily cut wood through wood really fast. Be careful, it's a dangerous tool using this angle grinder. After you've cut through the wood to the depth that you need to place this board that is flush with the top of the wood, if you've cut the depth that you need, you'll need to grind or sand the surface of the wood so that it's level, so that the board can sit on the top of the blocks in a level fashion. You'll need to take this board, which is a 4 feet by 10 inches wide, and place the board on top of your wooden block, and make the lines and markings that you're going to be cutting through. First, you'll take your chainsaw blade and cut across each line like so, and you may have to cut it a few times to get the depth that you need. And then you'll cut grooves in the board like so, like that, to the depth that you need. For this particular board, probably about 6 to 10 lines in that board and that block. And then you'll take your grinder blade and you chip that wood out. You can also chip it out with the actual chainsaw blade. I would chip it out first with the chainsaw blade until you get the depth that you need, and then come back and run that grinder blade over it to smooth it out. You do that to both of your boards, both of your blocks. And you'll need to place your board on top of the blocks to make sure that the board sits evenly on top of the block. And you'll have to do that a few times to get that depth and get the level the way that you want it. And of course, you'll need to bolt that board down with a glue and a galvanized screw, at least four, 2 for each block. Galvanized screw so that that particular screw won't rust as fast. Alrighty, so let's get started here. Hello, this is JB, the Honeydew Man. I'm back. I want to show you how the block should look after you've cut your grooves into the block. Cut those lines into the blocks. It should look like this, with little squares. By cutting the squares, you make it easier to chip out those blocks. And once you chip out all the blocks, just lay your board to see if the depth of the surface is where it should be level. The board should fit flush into this section here. If it's not, then you'll need to cut these grooves one more time, and cut the blocks again, and then chip them out again. And that second pass should be enough to get the depth that you need. That should be about 1.5 to 2 inches deep, and that should be enough for the minimum board you should use should be at least 1.5 to 2 inches deep. Alrighty, make sure you have on your goggles and your safety shield for your face when you use this very dangerous blade. Make sure you periodically check the blade and make sure that it's securely tightened on the cylinder, and unplug it when you are tightening the blade, and make sure you have a firm grip on this angle grinder, and you'll want to, as you saw into the block, you want to pull the grinder toward you. Every pass should be a pass that brings that blade toward you, toward where you're standing, because the blade is trying to run, the grinder is trying to run forward out of your hands, so you want to pull it toward you to as a resistance, and you'll find that the wood cuts a lot easier too when you do it that way. You don't want the grinder to control you, you want to control the grinder. All right, let me go ahead and finish this up, and I'll come back and show you how to use the grinder blade. All righty, hang tight. Hello, this is JB. I want to come back in this section of the video to show you how to use the chainsaw blade to chip out the blocks in the wood. And once you get it level, take your board and see if the depth is deep enough. If it's not deep enough, after smoothing out all the grooves, all the blocks, then cut your grooves one more time, and then chip the wood out. Once you get the wood chipped out, you want to come back and put your grinder blade on, and this blade will smooth out the section that you need to lay your board flush on top of the block. Use the same method to sand as you would when you're using this saw in the chipping motion. You'll be taking your grinder blade and using this type of motion to sand out the sections. Okay, in the final section of the video, I'll be coming back to show you the final results of this project. Hang tight. Hello, this is JB, the HoneyDo guy. As you can see, our bench project is complete. Final remarks on building this bench. Once you've selected your board, make sure your board is thick enough to support the weight. This particular board is 4 feet, 1.5 inches thick, and 10 inches wide. And set your board on the block. Put your wood glue evenly and apply a good amount onto the wood surface itself. Set it down in the spot you want to sit it. Take a drill bit. This particular bit is 7x16. Drill a starter hole all the way through the board and about at least 1 inch into the wood, and thus your screw or your bolt has to be probably about 2 inches long. So drill that starter hole into each board all the way through the wood, and then take this particular tool to cut a recess hole. This bit is 1/2 inch. You'll be cutting a recess hole into the board on each end. You'll do this so that the head of your screw or the head of your bolt will recess into the board, so that when you sit on the board, you won't get snagged by that screw head. You'll use a drill bit and a 3/16 or whatever size bit you need, and screw that bolt into the board. Okay, real easy. And finally, when you're carving out your block, you may need to use a chisel tool to get into the corners of the block so that they're even and clean. And of course, you need a hammer. Finally, when using any tools, safety is the utmost importance. And always wear goggles, earpiece, and if there's others around you, make sure they are suited up accordingly. Again, this is JB, the HoneyDo guy. God bless you and have a good day.